Picture this: a single, unassuming crack in a perfectly polished mirror, so small you might miss it at first glance, but once you see it, you can't look away. That's how I've started to feel about my life lately. My name's Sophie, I'm 35, and I've been married to Dylan for 8 years now. We've built a quiet little world together in our suburban home just beyond the city's restless heartbeat. It's a place of straight lines and predictable rhythms, where every day unfolds like a well-rehearsed play. At 7 a.m. sharp, I'm in the kitchen, the stainless steel coffee machine hissing and gurgling as it brews our morning ritual. Dylan's already at the table, thumb scrolling lazily across his phone screen, the faint murmur of the morning news drifting from the small TV on the counter. We don't talk much in those early hours, just a quick peck on the cheek before he's out the door to his accounting job, briefcase in hand, and I'm left to shuffle to my cluttered desk in the spare room, diving into freelance graphic design projects that keep my mind busy but not quite fulfilled. Our evenings are just as scripted. Dinners at 6:30 p.m., nothing fancy. Think pasta with store-bought sauce or grilled chicken with a side of steamed veggies. We eat, we clear the plates, and then we sink into the couch for an hour of mindless TV, some crime drama or sitcom rerun, before dragging ourselves to bed. The fridge door is a gallery of to-do lists, pinned with magnets shaped like tiny fruits. Groceries every Saturday, laundry every Sunday. The same errands looping week after week like a song stuck on repeat. It's comfortable, sure, but sometimes I catch myself staring out the window at the neat rows of houses on our street, wondering if this is all there is. And then there's Dylan himself. He's 38, a quiet man, reserved in a way that feels both comforting and distant. He's got a neatly trimmed beard, wire-rimmed glasses that always sit just right on his nose, and even on weekends, he's in pressed shirts, as if he's perpetually ready for a meeting. I've always thought of him as steady, predictable, until recently. Lately, I've noticed things, small shifts that prickle at the edge of my awareness. The way his gaze lingers when I'm changing out of my work clothes in our bedroom, his eyes tracing the outline of my body as I slip into a nightgown. A silent intensity I'm not used to seeing. I remember last month, we were standing side by side at the sink, washing dishes after dinner, soap suds clinging to my hands. When out of nowhere he asked, "Sophie, what's your deepest fantasy?" Deepest? His tone was casual, almost too casual, but his eyes, they were sharp, searching. I laughed it off, mumbled something about a tropical vacation, and changed the subject. But that question stuck with me, replaying in my mind like a stubborn echo I can't shake. So, when Dylan wakes me up early on a Saturday morning, way before the sun has even thought about rising, I'm caught off guard. I'm still tangled in the sheets, groggy and half-dreaming, when I hear his voice, low and teasing, saying, "Come on, Sophie, time for an adventure." I crack open an eye and see him standing there by the bed, a playful grin tugging at the corners of his mouth, his dark hair slightly mussed in a way that makes him look younger, almost boyish. Before I can grumble about the hour, he holds up a silk blindfold, the fabric dangling from his fingers like a secret. It's deep indigo, shimmering faintly in the dim light of our bedroom, and I can't help but reach out to touch it. It's cool and smooth, slipping through my fingers like water, and a little thrill runs through me as he steps closer. He kneels on the edge of the bed, his weight dipping the mattress, and gently ties the blindfold over my eyes. His fingers brush my hair aside, lingering just a moment longer than necessary, and I feel the knot tighten with a soft tug. The world goes dark, and suddenly every other sense sharpens. I can hear the faint rustle of his shirt as he moves, smell the familiar cedar wood of his cologne, and feel the nervous flutter in my chest as I wonder what he's up to. "Trust me," he whispers, his breath warm against my ear, and I nod, though I'm not sure if I'm reassuring him or myself. He takes my hand, pulling me up from the bed, and I stumble a little, barefoot on the cold hardwood floor, as he leads me through the house. I'm still in my pajamas, a worn-out tank top and soft cotton shorts, But he doesn't give me time to change, just guides me with a steady grip on my arm. We make our way to the garage, and I hear the familiar creak of the door sliding open, the sound amplified in the blackness behind the blindfold. The air shifts, cooler now, carrying the faint scent of oil and damp concrete as he helps me into the passenger seat of our car. The leather is chilly against my bare legs, and I fumble with the seatbelt until I hear the click of him buckling it for me. Then the engine hums to life, a low, steady vibration that fills the silence, and we're off. I have no idea where we're going, and the not knowing is both exhilarating and unnerving. I try to track time, counting the minutes in my head, but it's hard to focus with the blindfold on. The drive feels endless, stretching on for what I guess is about 2 hours. I listen to the sounds around me for clues. The consistent drone of a highway at first, cars whooshing past us in a rhythmic blur, then the sudden shift to a quieter road, the tires crunching over gravel, the world outside the car growing stiller with every passing mile. Finally, the engine cuts off, and I feel the car settle into silence. Dylan's door opens, a rush of cool, damp air sweeping in, carrying the scent of old wood and something faintly metallic. He comes around to my side, his hand steady as he helps me out, my feet touching uneven ground that feels like cracked pavement. "Almost there," he murmurs, his voice softer now, almost reverent, as he guides me forward. I hear a heavy door groan on its hinges, and then we're inside somewhere, the air thick with the musty smell of age and neglect. My sneakers echo on a hard floor, each step reverberating in what feels like a vast, empty space. Dylan stops me, his hands on my shoulders, and I feel the blindfold loosen, the silk slipping away. Light floods in, dim and flickering, and I blink against it, my eyes adjusting to the sight before me. I'm standing in a cavernous lobby, the kind you'd see in an old, forgotten hotel, with high ceilings and peeling wallpaper that might have once been gold, but is now a sickly yellow. A massive chandelier hangs above, half its crystals missing, casting jagged shadows across the floor. There's no sign of life here, just dust motes floating in the weak light filtering through boarded-up windows. My heart's pounding, a mix of excitement and unease, as I turn to Dylan for some kind of explanation, but he's not there. I spin around, my breath catching, searching the empty space, but it's just me, alone, the echo of my own breathing bouncing off the walls. "Dylan?" I call out, my voice sounding small and fragile in this cavernous void, but there's no answer, just a hollow silence that presses in from all sides. Before I can process the panic creeping up my spine, a sharp crackle cuts through the air, making me jump. It's coming from above, from hidden speakers I can't see, and then a voice emerges, deep and slightly distorted, like it's being filtered through static. "Enter the elevator to your left," it commands, the tone cold and unyielding. I freeze, my eyes darting around, half expecting to see someone watching me, but the lobby remains deserted. My pulse is racing as I scan the room, and there it is, an old-fashioned elevator, a cage of brass bars tucked into the corner, its door slightly ajar like it's been waiting for me. I hesitate, every instinct screaming to run, to find Dylan, but there's nowhere else to go. No other sound but the faint hum of the building itself. Swallowing hard, I step toward the elevator, the floor creaking under my weight, and slip inside. The door clangs shut behind me with a finality that makes my stomach drop, the sound echoing like a gunshot in the silence. The voice crackles to life again. "Third floor, room 312. Choose a dress from the wardrobe." I stare at the panel of buttons, my hand trembling as I press the one marked 3. The elevator jerks to life, rattling and groaning as it ascends, the bars vibrating around me. It feels like I'm trapped in some ancient beast, its bones grinding with every inch we climb. When it finally shudders to a stop, the door screeches open, and I step into a dimly lit hallway, the carpet threadbare and stained, the walls lined with numbered doors. I find 312 easily, the brass numbers tarnished but clear, and push the door open, half expecting something to jump out at me. Instead, I met with a small, dusty room, dominated by a towering mahogany wardrobe that looks like it belongs in a Gothic novel. I approach it, my fingers brushing the carved wood, and pull the doors open. Inside, there's a collection of vintage gowns, flapper-style dresses dripping with sequins and fringe, their colors muted by time but still striking. My eyes land on a deep emerald one, the fabric shimmering faintly in the weak light. I don't know why, but I reach for it, pulling it out and holding it against myself. It feels like a piece of another era, heavy with secrets I can't quite grasp, and for a moment, I'm lost in the thought of who might have worn it before me. My fingers tremble as I slip out of my pajamas and into the emerald dress, the cool silk sliding over my skin like a whispered dare. It fits almost too perfectly, hugging my curves in a way that makes me feel both exposed and powerful, a stranger to myself. I catch a glimpse of my reflection in a cracked mirror on the wardrobe door, my eyes wide, my hair a mess, but there's a spark there, something wild I haven't seen in years. My heart's still racing from everything that's happened, from Dylan disappearing, from the eerie instructions, and now this transformation. I don't know what's waiting for me next, but I can't stop now. I step out of the room, the dress swishing softly around my legs, and make my way back down the hallway. The air feels thicker now, charged with something I can't name, as I hear the faint sound of music drifting from somewhere below. It's a haunting melody, slow and jazzy, like something from a bygone ballroom. My borrowed heels, found in a box beside the wardrobe, click against the floor, the sound sharp in the quiet, as I head toward the elevator once more. But before I can reach it, a figure steps out from the shadows near the stairwell. It's Leo, the man I met earlier in the grand ballroom upstairs. His mask still obscuring half his face, his dark eyes glinting with something unreadable. My breath catches, remembering our encounter, the way his hand lingered on mine during a dance, the whispered words I shouldn't have listened to, the line I crossed in a moment of reckless abandon. I can still feel the heat of that mistake burning under my skin, a secret I'm not sure I can keep. He doesn't say a word now, just nods slightly, as if acknowledging what we've done, and gestures for me to follow him. My legs feel like they're made of lead, unsteady beneath me, but I trail behind him down the winding staircase, the emerald dress now wrinkled from our earlier moment, a silent testament to my betrayal. I try to focus on the steps, on the creak of the old wood underfoot, but my mind is a storm. Who was I an hour ago, stepping into this building, blindfolded and naive, trusting Dylan's game, and who am I now, descending these stairs with the weight of my choices pressing down on me? I can't reconcile the two versions of myself, the suburban wife with her tidy routines, and the woman who let herself be swept away by a stranger's charm in a forgotten ballroom. My chest tightens with every step, the music growing louder, a siren call pulling me back to reality, or whatever twisted version of it awaits me. Leo leads me through a set of double doors, back into the ballroom where chandeliers flicker weakly and the air smells of dust and old perfume. He adjusts his mask with a casual flick of his hand, as if nothing happened between us, as if the world hasn't shifted under my feet. I want to say something, to ask if he feels the same guilt gnawing at him, but my throat is dry, my words stuck somewhere deep. Instead, I just stand there, my hand smoothing the wrinkled fabric of the dress, trying to steady my breathing as the music swells and fades. Then, that same distorted voice crackles through the speakers again, cutting through the haze of my thoughts like a knife. Return to the lobby via the elevator, it instructs, cold and mechanical, offering no hint of what's next. I glance at Leo, but he's already turning away, disappearing into the shadows of the room without a backward glance. I'm alone again, left to face whatever comes next on my own. I make my way to the elevator, the brass cage waiting for me like an old friend, or maybe a jailer. I step inside, the door clanging shut with that same ominous finality, and press the button for the lobby. The descent is slow, the machinery rattling and groaning as if it might give out at any moment, and my heart matches the uneven rhythm, pounding in my chest like it's trying to break free. The elevator shudders to a stop, the door scraping open with a reluctant groan, and I step back into the cavernous lobby. The air feels heavier now, the dim light casting long, distorted shadows across the cracked marble floor. I stand there for a moment, the emerald dress clinging to me like a second skin, the weight of everything that's happened pressing down on my shoulders. My eyes dart around, searching for any sign of life, any clue as to what comes next, but the space is as empty as it was before. Except it's not. There, near the center of the room, stands Dylan. He's by a small, ornate table I hadn't noticed earlier. A single wine glass resting on its surface, the deep red liquid inside catching the faint light from the broken chandelier above. My breath catches in my throat as I take him in. He looks different somehow, even in the familiar pressed shirt and slacks, his posture too composed, too deliberate. His glasses are gone, and without them his eyes seem sharper, more piercing, as they lock onto mine from across the room. I want to run to him, to demand answers for this bizarre game, for leaving me alone in this decaying maze, but my feet feel rooted to the spot. My mouth is dry, my tongue heavy, as I watch him set the wine glass down with a slow, intentional clink that echoes in the silence like a warning. He stands then, closing the distance between us with measured steps, his polished shoes clicking against the floor in a rhythm that feels almost predatory. I brace myself for anger, for the confrontation I've been dreading since that stolen moment with Leo upstairs. But when I look into his face, there's no fury. Instead, there's the faintest smirk playing on his lips, a subtle curve that sends a shiver down my spine. It's not the Dylan I know, not the quiet, predictable man who kisses me goodbye every morning. This is someone else, someone I've never met, and the realization makes my stomach twist in a way I can't name. He stops just a foot away, close enough that I can smell the familiar cedarwood of his cologne mixed with something darker, something I don't recognize. His voice, when he speaks, is low and steady, cutting through the silence like a blade. I saw everything, and I want more. Now, with a different script. The words hit me like a physical blow, stealing the air from my lungs. My mind reels, replaying every moment of this strange day, the blindfold, the eerie instructions, the dance with Leo, the way I let myself slip into something forbidden. I saw everything. My stomach drops, a cold dread pooling inside me as the implication sinks in. I open my mouth to speak, but my voice comes out as a stammer, barely audible. What do you mean? I manage, my hands clenching into fists at my sides, the fabric of the dress wrinkling under my grip. Dylan's smirk widens just a fraction, but his eyes are intense, unblinking, as if he's peeling back every layer of me with a single look. I orchestrated this, Sophie, he says, his tone chillingly clear, each word deliberate. Every step, every moment. Leo was part of it. The ballroom, the side room. There were cameras hidden everywhere. I watched it all from a private suite upstairs. My knees feel weak, the world tilting beneath me as I picture him sitting alone in some shadowy room, a monitor flickering with grainy footage of my betrayal, my every move laid bare. I can almost see the cold glow of the screen reflecting in his eyes, his face unreadable as he observed me unravel. And yet there's no anger in his voice now, no accusation. Instead, there's something else, something eager, almost hungry, that makes my skin crawl even as it sparks a flicker of something I don't want to acknowledge. He takes a step closer, his presence overwhelming, and I can't move, can't look away. I've been craving something more than our mundane life, he continues, his voice a low murmur that seems to reverberate through the empty lobby. And I think you have too, even if you didn't know it until today. So the question is, Sophie, are you in for what comes next? I stand there, frozen, his words hanging between us like a dare I'm not sure I can accept. My mind is a whirlwind, spinning back through the years of our marriage to the safe, predictable life we built together. I see us in the kitchen at 7 a.m., the coffee machine hissing as I pour 2 mugs, the steam curling lazily in the morning light. I see Dylan at the table, his head bent over his phone, the way he'd glance up just long enough to give me that familiar, absent-minded smile before heading out the door. I remember the peck on the cheek, so routine it barely registered, and the endless to-do lists stuck to the fridge, a map of our quiet days. That life feels like a distant memory now, a faded photograph I can't quite touch. After everything that's happened today, the blindfold, the strange instructions, the forbidden rush with Leo, I know I can't go back to that. Not now. Not ever. I look into Dylan's eyes, searching for the man I married, the one I thought I knew inside and out. But all I see is a stranger, someone with depths and secrets I'm only just beginning to glimpse. His gaze is steady, unflinching, and it unnerves me how much I don't recognize in it. There's a hunger there, a darkness that mirrors something inside me, something I've tried to ignore for years. My betrayal with Leo, even if it was part of Dylan's twisted game, cracked open a door I didn't know existed. It woke something in me, a restless, aching need for more than the mundane, more than the safe little box we'd built around ourselves. And as much as I want to feel guilt, to drown in shame for what I did, I can't. The truth is, I don't regret it. I liked it. I liked the thrill, the danger, the way it made my heart race in a way it hasn't in years. That realization sits heavy in my chest, a confession I can barely admit to myself, let alone to him. My throat feels tight, my voice barely a whisper as I finally speak. I'm in. The words come out softer than I intend, but there's a firmness to them, a resolve I didn't know I had until this moment. Dylan's face shifts, a slow, deliberate smile spreading across his lips, not warm but calculating, like he's just won something he always knew he would. He reaches for the wine glass on the table, the deep red liquid catching the fractured light of the chandelier above, and hands it to me. My fingers brush against his as I take it, the glass cool against my skin, and I lift it to my lips, taking a slow sip. The wine is bitter, sharp on my tongue, but it feels like a seal, a silent pact between us that there's no turning back from. The taste lingers as I lower the glass, my eyes still locked on his, and I know in that moment that whatever comes next, I've chosen it. We move to a velvet sofa tucked against the far wall of the lobby, its deep burgundy fabric worn but still elegant, a relic of this place's forgotten grandeur. We sit close, closer than we have in months, the air between us charged with something new and dangerous. The hotel lobby is silent around us, the only sound the faint creak of the building settling, the distant drip of water somewhere in the shadows. Dylan leans back, one arm resting casually along the back of the sofa, his fingers just inches from my shoulder, and he begins to speak. His voice is low, almost hypnotic, as he outlines the next script, as he calls it. He hints at more games, more guides to follow, more boundaries to push and shatter. Each word is a thread weaving a web I'm not sure I can escape. But I listen, hanging on to every syllable, feeling a strange cocktail of fear and exhilaration, knowing that despite the risks, the allure of the unknown was a siren's call I could no longer resist. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.